Well, this segment, the first one, will be dedicated to personal finance planning for women. So if you are a working woman, a single mom, working mom, be what your status is, or even if you are a man with a daughter, a sister, or a wife who you should learn about personal finance planning, stay tuned over the course of the next 30 minutes. I am now joined by Mr. P.V. Subramanyam of Subramanyam.com to take forward this conversation. Hi, Mr. Subramanyam, and thanks so much for joining us today on the show. So to start with, this entire topic of personal finance planning for women, firstly, should there even be a terminology like this? I mean, the basic rules of spending, investing and money management largely is same, right, regardless of your gender. Yes, it differs from an income group perspective, but does gender really matter when it comes to the basic principles of personal finance planning?
Well, logically it should not matter, but you see a typical Indian house, perhaps even a foreign house, I wouldn't know, but the girl is not encouraged to do any building, right? So the girl gets a Barbie doll, she gets purses, she is encouraged to go shopping. The boy is given Lego toys and asked to build. So if the girl is not being asked to build, how will she build a portfolio, right? So gender discrimination starts in the house pretty early. Then there is Raksha Bandhan, where a 2-year-old brother will tie a Rakhi to a 10-year-old sister and say, I will protect you. So somewhere the girl feels it's somebody else's duty to protect me and to build something for me. There is no logic at all. I mean, a girl who is working, a girl who is professionally qualified should also get insurance, should also get health insurance, term insurance. If she's supporting somebody, the rules don't change. But the way we look at women and the way we look at men, since that is not changing, some tweaking is necessary, because the girl has to be told certain hard facts which are not told to her at home. That's why it's a little different.
So where should they start off then? I mean, the fact that unfortunately women do have a bit of a backseat on two key areas. One is from an educational perspective, awareness perspective, and the second part is also the fact that it's a very sad fact that there is still a gender pay gap. The WHO and various agencies say that this is a phenomenon not just in India but around the world, even in developed economies. There's just a few countries out there, like maybe in Iceland, where there's absolutely no pay gap between the two genders. So what is the first step then that women should take, or maybe the male members of the family should take?
I think it should start with Hindi movies making those changes, because if a family has a limited budget on whom to educate, it is the boy who gets the priority, not the girl. So there are times when the girl is denied higher education, even if she is good in studies. So it starts there. Then women also have to play a role, because what they do is they take some time off, maybe to have children, and so that also causes a pay gap. And also, when there is any nursing required, the normal rule is the woman takes time off to look after her parents or some sibling or her in-laws. So because of the gap, because of those things also which they do. And also, I find a lot of women making statements like, Subra, I am not the primary provider for my family. I'm not. So when you make these kind of sounds, people hear it. So I think women have to play a role in saying, yes, I am the primary provider. I'm earning, it's my career. India has a lot of examples. I mean, you have Shikha Sharma, Chanda Kochar, Renuka Ramnath, just from ICICI, right? So we have a lot of examples of very many women making successful career. I mean, look at the media. I walk into any media company, it's full of women. So women are there. Yes, there could be a pay gap high, but the women, the more they get popular, I think, I'm sure Deepika Padukone gets paid as much as a hero gets paid. So in some places, they are able to bridge. In other places, it will take time. I think it should start with Hindi movies, making movies showing a woman can earn well, can do well. I mean, that has to be highlighted more. We are seeing it in real life, but it's not come in the social media so much.
Oh yeah, I mean, we have plethora of role models out there, that's for sure. So, Mr. Subramanyam, let's talk about, the different categories of women as well, whether they're single, they're married. How exactly would it differ? When you're single and working, of course, the tendency, the proclivity of course, the society is that the woman lives with the parents until, maybe she's married off or she has to move to another city for a job. So expenses in such cases are with the bare minimum. Even in the case of married women, more often than not, the women does not contribute maybe as much to the household expenses, especially if, it's a joint family or the husband is well off. The societal norm is such that even though it's a double income family, usually it's the husband that pays. So that leaves a good amount of savings as well, I guess, for many women. So in both cases, how would you go about personal finance planning?
So if it's a single woman, she has to take a decision whether she's going to get married at all. If she's not going to get married, the assumption is there is going to be nobody dependent on her, and therefore she does not need any term insurance. Maybe she needs medical insurance, and she's going to be with her parents, and presumably her parents will die much before she dies. So therefore, if there is no need for any insurance at all except medical insurance, so then she can invest far more aggressively and create her retirement corpus. And because she's single, she'll also be spending less. So therefore, she could retire at an early age. Maybe 45 is an age when she would have accumulated enough money to retire. The minute she's married, what happens is the husband may take care of all the expenses and pay the EMI, which means the woman's income is available completely for, say, retirement planning for the couple. So that can be a fantastic way where, let's say, the husband is earning 35 lakhs and the wife is earning about 20 lakhs. The whole 20 lakhs minus the taxes, of course, is available for their retirement planning, which gives them a very good standard of living out of the husband's income, assuming that the husband need not save any great amount of money for their future because the wife is saving. So that can be done. In some cases, the husband and wife, pool in the money together. They pay the EMIs and things like that. So in all these cases, if a woman feels that at some stage her parents could be dependent on her, she should take a term insurance with her parents as a nominee, because the husband and children may not be dependent. They may be dependent on the husband. So husband should take the term insurance, but the wife should take the term insurance with her parents as a nominee. But it is for the wife to also understand everything that the husband does. When I talk to women and men, women are willing to play a role. So when the husband and wife have invested, I ask the wife, why is this investment made? What is it? Do you know how to encash it? So that kind of a thing. Women should take part in the money management discussion. Why is our electricity bill so much? Pay the bill. Maybe you pay with your husband's credit card, but at least sit and know how to make the payment. Mubina, people say when you're young and you're married and you have children, you should take term insurance. I think the step one before taking term insurance is to sit with your spouse, and if children are grown up, 13, 14, and tell them what to do with the money. Otherwise, let's say they get 2 crores of rupees on the husband's death and they don't know what to do. They're very likely to lose it to some unit-linked plan, which is not good or something like that. And she might suddenly find that she got 2 crores and most of it is evaporated in fees and things like that. That shouldn't happen. So the teaching should happen together. The learning should happen together. And today, believe me, there are no excuses for not learning. I mean, your channel is there. There are YouTube videos available. There are websites available. There are websites for women and finance available. I have contributed to them. So I know a lot of it is available. The willingness to learn should be there. They need maybe a nudge and a push to make them learn. The academic institutions won't teach you. The employer won't teach you. The college won't teach you. So you have to take some initiative. Believe me, you take one step, there are people willing to take 10 steps towards you to teach. There is a lot of resources available. It's not like 30 years ago or 40 years ago. If your mother wanted to learn, she would have found it very difficult. But today, I don't think a girl your age has any excuse for not learning.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have a TMI syndrome, too much information syndrome rather than the lack of it. There are plenty of resources available online on YouTube that, you can peruse and listen to and read to be able to get a basic understanding of money management. And it's not all that tough or complicated. It should not really spook you. It should not intimidate you. And it should no longer be, the corner of only the male members of the family. like Mr. Subramanyam mentioned, participation in money management is extremely crucial. I'm not just saying about, where is your money being invested by your, your father or your husband or whoever, but also the bill payments. How are the bills paid? What are the bills that do come into your house every month? You should have knowledge of all of this to be prepared for any kind of circumstance. And unfortunately, we are living in very, very uncertain times. You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So it's all the more important that you always keep track of all the finances in and out of your house. Now, Mr. Subramanyam, the one very well-known factor is that women do tend to live longer than men. The other factor is that women tend to earn lesser than men, owing to, again, like I mentioned, gender pay gap, pardon me, or also the fact that, I remember you yourself mentioning in one of the vlogs too, that for whatever reason, women tend to go in and out of the workforce, maternity or whatever it is. That's just the construct of the society. So in general, a woman's income over her lifespan tends to be a little lower than a man's. So do you think, keeping these two things in mind, women should be a bit more aggressive when it comes to their investment strategy, their portfolio, be willing to take more risks?
Mubina, this is, people have always said that women are more conservative while investing. This is not true. I find younger girls, say a 32, 33-year-old girl who's earning, say, 65, 75 lakhs. She's very aggressive. She's as aggressive as her brother or her colleague. But when a girl is earning, say, 10 lakhs, then she's not so aggressive. So I don't think it is about man and woman. It is about how much they're earning and how much guts they have. So a girl who comes from a prosperous family, father is rich, husband is doing well, she's very aggressive with her portfolio. So I don't think that is so much of an issue. Yes, she should be more aggressive. In fact, if she's young and there's nobody dependent on her, there is absolutely no reason why she should not be aggressive, because she has got her father to turn to or her husband to turn to in a worst case scenario. And nobody is going to come to her and say, oh, I have an emergency, give me money, because she has got two emergency pockets available from where she can dip into and take money. So yes, she should be more aggressive. She can take 10-year views and 15-year views, especially if she's 30, 31. And she's got a 30, 40-year horizon for retirement. So absolutely true. But overall, I don't think it should be a man versus woman thing. It is very clearly a family asset allocation. So if the husband is, let's say, an equity trader and the wife is a professor in IIT, then obviously she is the more conservative person. But she's got the job which will pay till the age of 67, 68, and she is the person who should be taking more risk. And the husband should be putting more money into debt because his real life is equity, right? So I think it's the whole family risk appetite rather than her risk appetite or his risk appetite. So yes, I think she can be more aggressive simply because there is no claim on her amount for say 10, 15 years. She has to be more aggressive if you want growth.
So when you say being more aggressive, Mr. Subramanyam, what would a portfolio construct look like? What should it look like rather?
Yeah, again, now single woman with no dependents, obviously there's no term insurance needed, nothing like that. So obviously she can be much more, but she has to be also planning for some emergency. She might need money. So her portfolio could be say 60, 70% in equity, another 10% maybe in other assets like gold or some REIT or things like that, and 20% in debt. But if the husband is doing the major, the big ticket investing and all, a woman earning less than the husband and whose money is not really needed can be in equities. But I must tell you one thing which you won't even believe. There is this woman. First of all, I must clarify, she's a banker. She has retired. When she got married, she went and told her father-in-law, here is my salary, what should I do? He said, no, nothing, just let it be in the bank. 35 years of her life, that money did not leave the savings bank account. You can't be so stupid, even assuming your father-in-law is rich and your husband is rich. It's a crime, and she's a banker. What more can I say? It's little unfair to leave money like that. It needs to be managed. Women can manage it. Yes, they should have more equity. They should understand equity, mid-cap, large-cap, nowadays international equity. Have a combination of everything, assuming that the big lifting is being done by the husband. So yes, she can be more aggressive. if he is very conservative, she should be aggressive. But if he is very aggressive, there are guys who are very aggressive who put all their money in F&O and things like that. Then she should be playing the other fiddle and saying, I will be very conservative. I will be in bank fixed deposits and ultra short bond funds. So it's again, like I said, it can't be one answer fits all. It has to be a family call what they want to do.
You know, I guess by giving that example, Mrs. Subramanyam, you've definitely cut some slack for a lot of the women out there who say that, you know, I don't know much about finance, because if a banker really does something like this, I guess, well, it is a little appalling. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, you know what, let's open the floor for questions and queries as well, ladies and gents for that matter. If you have any thing you'd like to ask Mr. Subramanyam on, you know, how to manage your money better, correct any wrongs that you may be doing in your investment portfolio, write into us. Our email address is themoneyShow@etnow.tv. Okay, well, for now, I think I'll just start off with the questions we've already received. The first one is from Lakshmi Jadhav. She says, I'm 30 years old, in working, started investing in 2017 with a firm. I'm married and don't have any expenses as such. As it is largely taken care of by my husband. This is, I think, one of those standard examples like we mentioned earlier, Mr. Subramanyam. So yeah, this is her portfolio. There's Franklin India Feeder, which she started in June 2020, 1 year ago. Franklin India Focused Equity, but the SIP has been terminated, as is the case with HDFC Small Cap, L&T Mid Cap, Mirae Asset Emerging, SBI Small Cap. Lots of mid and small caps, you know, in the portfolio. By the way, she has just terminated the SIPs, not yet redeemed those funds. So the total value so far is roughly a little under 5 lakhs. Plus, she has 11 lakh rupees in a variety of shares. She's just listed a few: TCS, Infi, BEL, PPF of 7 lakhs, FDs of 12 lakhs, and 13.5 lakhs in her husband's commercial property. So from the looks of it, you know, I mean, it's very evenly balanced across equity, fixed income or debt, and realty as well being added into the mix. How would you look at the way she has split her savings so far and the, you know, her portfolio construct too?
Look, it is so much of performance chasing. Very clearly, she started investing in a US fund in the year 2020, which is not even invested in an Indian large cap fund, right? Because the US fund has done very well in 2017, 18, 19. This is performance chasing, which is a disaster. You want to get into US funds only after you have at least $1 million US, right? Only a person with 7-8 crores needs to invest in US and take the dollar risk. What happens if the dollar falls 10%? All the 10% gain will be lost. So first of all, I don't like that feeder fund US. For her, it's a great fund, but not for her. She's just putting 2,500 rupees into so many funds. So she needs a mid and large cap fund first to start with. She's got only small cap, and this is a high risk thing. But yes, I need to know the husband portfolio before I can compare and say whether this is a good portfolio. But as a standalone portfolio, no, she needs a mid and large cap fund from something like Investco or PGM or something, any fund house. I'm not saying only those fund houses. But yeah, so she needs to do that first. Why would you put into this US fund? And why have you stopped Franklin India Focused and HDFC Small Cap Growth? Makes no sense. I don't see why this shuffle has taken place. Of course, she has not withdrawn, but why stop one and start other? I don't see the logic also. So I think I would stop the US feeder fund and maybe put into Franklin India Focused Equity. Rather than into US equity. I wouldn't put into US equity at this stage. And I think for the small amount of money she has too much. She's over diversified. She's got debt, she's got equity, she has got, of course, she has PPF and fixed deposit. That makes sense. But if she's earning a salary, instead of being in a fixed deposit, she can put it into some ultra short bond fund, because she will pay tax only when she withdraws. Whereas on FD interest, she'll be paying interest on a regular basis. So that she can shift. And husband's commercial property, I have no clue. I can't comment on that. And her equity is again over diversified. TCS, Infosys, BAL, Tata Consumer. I'm sure she has got 25, 50 shares of each. It's only a person who has created that can comment about it, and it is not she who has created it. she should be asking the person who has made it. Individually, there is nothing to complain against a TCS or an Infosys, but I want a more diversified portfolio, which she does not know how to create. So she should put some money maybe into a UTI index fund, because at least invest in India first and then you can go to US. So,
there's a little bit of over diversification on the equity side of the portfolio, and yeah, I guess it's a fair warning as well, perhaps from Mrs. Subramanyam, that there's too much of shuffling in mutual funds. Advisors saying, okay, terminate these two and suddenly start the other two. Sometimes you need to sort of look at all of these reshuffle advices that come in from your advisor with a critical eye. All right, let's take on board our next question. Divya writes in saying, I'm a homemaker, don't have much experience in finance, but my family gives me monthly expenses, which I manage to save quite a bit. Where can I start? So no income as such to speak of. It's just this, the expenses money which her family gives her, I suppose, for her personal expenses, which she saves. I think that's a great thing, but of course, I'm assuming it just probably lies in her locker or maybe in a savings account. So where do you recommend such an individual starts off, Mrs. Subramanyam?
So first, she starts a bank RD. Because if she's a homemaker, she's not earning much, there's no earned income, so there is no taxation. So she starts off with a bank RD and creates a portfolio. I have no clue, she's not mentioned any numbers. Once she reaches a figure of about, say, 5 lakhs, then she starts putting some money into equity, which could be a UTI or a SBI index fund, the one which is cheaper. And she starts doing an SIP for that amount. And that's it. Beyond that, she need not complicate her life. Later on, if she wants to invest, she should maybe consult her family and sit with her husband or learn and then start investing. But right now, I think a bank RD, reach 5 lakhs and then SIP in an index fund. That's a good way to start.
All right. Well, yeah, I think the best part about not earning is that you don't pay taxes, I guess. And yeah, for Divya, this monthly expenses can be started off with a recurring deposit, a very plain, vanilla, simple, instrument provided by every bank out there. Hena Srinivasan says, I wanted to share my mutual fund portfolio and goals. She's got very specific goals. 1 crore by 37 for 2040, 2042, 2045. So in total, 4 crore rupees before within the span of 2020 to 24 years. Now she has her SIPs going on in Axis Blue Chip, Kotak Emerging, Mirae Asset Emerging, Nippon India Small Cap Principal Emerging, and SBI Magnum Multicap, which roughly is between 3,500 to 5,500 rupees. I think roughly her SIPs are totaling around 30-odd thousand rupees. Now she says, will I be able to meet my goals with the above selection of mutual funds and investments, or does it need changes? She also says she's been following these investments since Jan 2019. So Mrs. Subramanyam, with a rough SIP figure of 30,000 per month, which has been going on since Jan 2019, will it be sufficient for her to be able to start achieving her goals from 2037?
Yes and no, because the amount is 20,000 per month, which is about 2,40,000. So yes, she will be able to achieve these goals with about 19% CAGR. Now, 19% CAGR is very difficult to get. So I'm suggesting certain other things. She will be able to meet all her goals if you get a 19% CAGR. Now, 19% CAGR seems to be a pipe dream. No, she's not going to get. She's going to get more, something like 11 or 12. So one thing if she can do, if she can increase the SIP amounts by 10% every year. So now she's doing, say, 2,40,000 a year. Next year it should be 2,64,000. If she increases that, which means she puts more money, then she can get better returns. A little bit of shuffling. She's into too much of small cap. So if she can get into some large cap, that would be better. Luckily, she's into direct funds, which means she's doing all this without an investment advisor. So again, there is little fear of performance chasing. She has got principal emerging blue chip. Principal has left the business, so so they're better off looking at who's going to be the new fund manager. So that might require some reshuffle, and subsequently putting some more money into large cap. See, once upon a time, people had to fill up forms, so they used to think twice about, doing so many SIPs. Now, she can reduce the number of SIPs from 6 to at least 4. and she would still achieve it, but that 10% increase in SIP every year, and we also do not know why she requires this money. So sometimes she may not even require that money in 2037. Then it's different. But without doing anything, she will be able to achieve her first two goals, or the last two goals. 2042 and 2045 she will be able to achieve, but 2037 and 40 she may not be able to achieve with this SIP. But yes, if she increases her SIP amount by 10%, and maybe she scales down her requirement by another 10%, she will be able to achieve. But she's on a good path. I do not know whether she's doing it through an RIA or she's doing it herself. Portfolio is a little overweight on small cap. You know, Mubina, what scares me? When I see portfolios today with a lot of small cap, I think it is performance chasing, because small cap has done well over the last 1 year, so maybe these people are here. Next 6 months, if small cap does badly, they will shift from small cap to large cap. So these kind of monkeying in the portfolio shouldn't happen. So I don't think it's a very well balanced portfolio. She needs to bring it some large and mid cap fund also, and not just depend on the small cap portfolio. She's excessively small cap oriented.
Okay. Well, there you have it. That's all about personal finance for women, and we've answered some of your questions and queries as well. Mr. Subramanyam, thank you so much for taking our time, joining us on the show, and sharing your views with all of our viewers. And this conversation, just as always, will be uploaded on ET Now's YouTube channel, so you can once again re-listen to everything that Mr. Subramanyam had to say and get your required guidance on financial planning. But I think with that, we'll slip into a very short break. Be right back, because we will be discussing the new Model Tenancy Act that has been cleared by the Cabinet. How does it impact landlords and tenants of properties? Stay tuned.